Welcome. Today is International Stress Awareness Day, and here we are with our co-host, Tom Meyers. I am Danielle Sax. I am an expert in conscious self-care, an international speaker, and the author of the book, Shifting Out of Chronic Stress. But I am so pleased to finally, talk with Tom, my co-host. We have been colleagues for a while now, and we are so excited to do this event together. But this is a time where I am going to speak to you, Tom, as an expert in stress, to say the least, because you are an osteopath, you are a stress coach, you are the founder of the Reaset Approach, and you also have written your first book that is to come out soon, Futurize Yourself, and you are also a keynote speaker. Is there anything, Tom, that you would like to add to the audience to say, to introduce yourself? Just feel free.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for being the co-host of this absolutely wonderful event, International Stress Awareness Day. Is there anything I need to add about myself? Well, I have a really broad spectrum of experiences, from being a waiter to a sommelier on a cruise ship before I was 29, to really finding my inner voice and my inner path, which was when I had a little shop selling charcuterie and cheese, which didn't really run very well.
Wow.
And when I was 29, and I really had a life crisis there, and 3 questions saved my life, and that's where everything changed to what I'm doing and what I am today. So it's 17 years that I'm following a very precise path, and which I personally can recommend everybody to do, to have a sort of a inner voice and going for it. And yeah, that's so I feel that I have had lived already, well, more than twice, really.
More than twice. Okay, now Tom, we have been talking about this now for a long time. Speak up and speak out about stress is the theme. But before we talk about that, I would like to know from you, your personal experience. Was your first encounter with stress, was that on a personal level or on a professional level, so that you actually have become today a stress coach? Can you answer on that question?
Surely, Danielle. Really, how I became interested in stress was actually thanks to my patients. As an osteopath, you get people come to you with physical, musculoskeletal problems, but they started to tell me, say, you're doing something different. And I say, how can I do something different? I've just come from osteopathy education, which I started at 31. 5-6 years later, I started my practice, and I say, well, how can I be doing something different? Yes, they said, because when we are coming to you for physical problems, afterwards, we also feel like we can concentrate better. We have the same amount of stress, but we don't care as much anymore. We also can focus better when we are in a sort of a situation where we have to make decisions and we can't. And after your treatment, we suddenly were able to say, that's the path I want to take. So there was a sort of mystery going on. I was doing physical work as an osteopath, and I had also physical, of course, improvements in their problems and in their pain, so pain reduced. But also there was something on a behavioral and psychological level that was seemingly improving. And I'm generalizing it at the moment, but there were very often, it's like not once or twice, it seemed to be like an ongoing feedback that I was getting with people. And I was wondering how and what is really going on. How can I by working on the body, have an impact on behavior. And that's really when I started to look into this, how I got interested into the topic of stress from a behavior, from a biological point of view, because it seems that after some years of thinking and reflecting and reading, that was really the key. How, when you work on the stress systems from a biological point of view, the autonomic nervous system or the hormonal systems, that was making the biggest difference.
Wow.
So of course I have had stress in my life, but that's not the way I got into the topic. Really, for me, the topic is not like a personal experience. It is purely from the experience of my patients. Although I have to say that from that experience and from that research and from the reading, of course, I benefited from that. I really integrated the knowledge that I accumulated and became a stress coach for myself.
Interesting. Now, a stress coach for yourself, because I was just going to ask you the question, how do you cope with stress? What is your way, or, do you have a strategy for yourself to cope with stress?
Yes, I do. First of all, knowing myself has been the biggest stress management tool that I created for myself. The more that I got to know me as how I function, what can I handle, that was definitely what helped me to cope, and also to realize when I've taken on too much, that to say from I've taken on too much. And now I have to start to, dedicate some time to this and this and that project. But after that, Tom, don't take on so much, because you just can't, you're not made to do that.
So if you would like to, do I hear you well when you say, if you would like to say to our audience, speak up and speak out about stress, would it be about starting to know yourself better?
Yes, definitely. Many people seem to be scared of looking inside and to see what a beautiful person there is. Yes, you need to sometimes make changes which are not very easy, but knowing yourself is key to stress management. If you doing something in your life that is in contradiction to your potential, for example, of course you're going to get difficulties and you're going to get stressed. So, find out who you are, what is your potential, and start step by step implementing that into your life or into your professional life or in your private life. And you will see that that's already a better basis for dealing with stress. That will come automatically. There is always stress in our world. And there's always challenges that we need to cope with. But at least you are not as full. You can deal with it when you have more time to dedicate to it, because you don't have, your body is already being more relaxed because you're doing what you love doing. There's a word for it that I'm looking for, but I can't find it. Succumb. I think.
Okay.
But
So
the second, if I can continue on that, there is also, of course, not only knowing myself, but also breathing exercises. Or a breathing exercise, which is for heart rate variability training. That is for me the second key to effective stress management for myself.
Okay. And your message about speak out, speak up and speak out about stress, your personal message to the audience about, do you find people should more talk about it? People, it would benefit them if they would speak up and speak out about it? Are you, is that one of, because the team is very strong. And when we see in the UK, Prince Harry, Prince William, we've talked about it, how they've been expressing stress that has been going on for 20 years. Mm-hmm. What about speak up and speak out about stress? What do you have to say about it?
Well, yes, we have to speak up and speak out more about stress. Definitely because the world is changing very, very fast. And because it's going much faster, there is much more pressure on us. How are we going to deal with that? In the Gerd Leonhardt, which is a futurist, predicts that in the next 20 years, there will be more changes than the last 300 years. The change, if we want it or not, is actually a very stressful factor. This was established in the 1960s by psychiatrists Holmes and Raha, who have created the life change units. So they made 43 life changes, positive and negative. For example, you have a new job, a promotion, but also somebody, or one of your kids leaving the house, or just somebody close, and they're giving them a unit of stress. Now, if you have more than 300 points, so if you calculate these points, for example, Christmas is about 15 points. Somebody, somebody who is close to you who dies is 100 points. And within a year, you count these units, and you have more than 300 points, well, the risk of you being sick, of having an accident, is increased by 70%. Now, this was in the 60s. Now, life has changed since then. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it is, it's a really, really, high volatile, changing, where we need to adapt more and more. So our stress system, from a biological point of view, is really being challenged on a daily, nearly hourly, for some people on a minute basis. So speaking up and say hey, we are already having some serious problems on our health and well-being, and also social interaction is affected by it, productivity is affected by it, and the world is changing faster. So how are we going to cope with that? It's going to put another layer of pressure onto us with severe consequences if we're not dealing with it for our health and well-being and for our future. Plus, I'm predicting there is a new stress emerging that probably has even more of an impact, unfortunately not in a positive way, on our health and well-being, and that is existential stress. And there we come back to what we said before, know thyself. Existential stress will be here. It's already happening. I'm already seeing it in my practice. I'm already hearing people talking about it, of when computers and automation and AI and Internet of Things, when all of that is increasing exponentially, who are we? What are we going to do? What is our place in this world? So these essential questions from long time, we've always asked these questions, but they're being challenged again. And that is going to hurt some people, I think. So how can we prepare for that? And that is again coming to the theme of, I personally want to speak up and speak out about this. Say, have a look what is happening around us. Futurize yourself, and that means have a look into the future and come back, and what do you see? And how can you prepare for that to really become the best human being, or the best you can be?
How to become the best version of yourself? Is that what yes. With less stress in your life? Because I so agree, Tom, that we don't even realize. That is for me a very important one. Unconsciously, we don't realize how much the change is affecting us, how much the pressure is affecting us, how much like you say, every single minute of the day we have these, these stress triggers. And now, just to talk 2 minutes about your book, because I know, Futurize Yourself is the title of your book. Where is the link there? Is that the same as what you were talking about it now? Where is the link there with stress?
Well, the book is about these 3 questions that saved my life. And it's all about finding your potential and then starting to develop that potential into a experience. Because already, if you don't know yourself, well, and you start doing things or living the life, no, I'm going to repeat that, to live another person's dream, well, you're going to get more challenges and you're going to get more stressed, and you won't feel, innerly, you will feel that something is missing, which gives you stress. So it's about all finding that potential and starting to implement into your daily life. Doesn't have to be necessarily a job, but it can best be something that is just what you put into your life that resources you. Stress is often related to doing things that take energy away from you, compared to, in disbalance compared to the one that fills you.
I agree.
So Futurize Yourself is about talking about this changing world, but seen from a very, very personal point of view, from my experience of really thinking from, if this is life I don't want it, to 17 years later, where I am today, I say, yeah, this is something that I would like to share. From we can have a far more fulfilled life, rich in experiences, and the bonus is happiness. It's not about the pursuit of happiness. It's about, if you start doing the things that you love doing, which you are made for, well, happiness and fulfillment
will follow.
Thanks to that, being meaningful will follow, which is great for stress management.
I agree, and I see it every day here in my practice too. But a good one there, Tom, and I want to address that, is that a lot of people in this society, they are stressed, and so it's very difficult for them to know what they want, to know what they love, to know what they, it's a maybe also in your practice a question that we ask: what do you like? What will give you, that fulfillment? What is, making your heart beat, and give you that sparkle? And often people have forgotten what they like, what they want to do, what they love to do. Even if we just talk about a hobby, or, going for a walk or on a bicycle, whatever, they forgot to connect with who they are, to connect with that inner self that is joyful, that is fulfilled, that is. So I really appreciate you bringing it up, because it's something that I see in my practice every day. And so if let's talk about, if you would like to give one message, one word of wisdom, one sentence of wisdom to the audience today, I'm sure you've got many sentences of wisdom, Tom, I know you, but choose one that you would like to add to this interview, to finish off, and say, what exactly would be the sentence or the wisdom?
Yes, so I mentioned a few sentences so far, but the one that I really want to share is, don't forget to take your body on your journey. Because again, we talked about finding who you are and then implementing some changes into your life to bring that into action. But never forget that your body is really the one that must do all of these changes. It's the body that must live it. And sometimes, even though you have a positive change into your life, the body suffers from that. It doesn't seem to be able to adapt to it. So often I hear or I see people who, I'm in Brussels near the institutions. There's always new people coming to Brussels with their whole family and to work. So a great opportunity for them. But all the changes that they've gone through, even if it's for the better, and then about 3 to 4 months later, they have a crisis. They have back pain, or they become a little bit depressed, or they have migraines, or suddenly the body is suffering. It's not in the beginning. It's usually 3 to 4 months later.
Okay.
And I started to observe that in my practice. How is this? What's related here? Because I'm very curious. I love people. I want to know their story. You hear their accent is Belgian, or so where do you come from? And then when did you come? 3 to 4 months ago. And I think this is strange again. So I'm observing this kind of pattern. And it's because they never took time really to give their body time to adjust as well, to relax, it's not about doing nothing. It's really about helping your body to cope with the changes, to allow it to relax, recuperate, and regenerate in a period where your stress levels and your fight and flight response is, more activated than before. And it's this balance. So also in spiritual people, I noticed, then they come here and they say, yes, I'm on a spiritual path and I'm following my heart, but my body is letting me down. No, I think on that spiritual path, you forgot the most essential part, which is, as a human being, the first rule is you will have a body and you just didn't take it along with you.
Thank you. I think that's a very nice closure for this interview, because I know, Tom, how you treat the body, and you do it very well. I've experienced it myself. So shall we just close this interview, the two of us as co-hosts of the International Stress Awareness Day? I want to thank you. I want to thank you for, your expertise, your willingness. You have done such a great job, and I am honored to have spoken to you and have done this interview. Thank you so much, Tom. I just want to say to everybody who is listening, if you only heard a part of this, video interview, please, you can watch it all again. There are replays on YouTube, on the website. So go down there and listen to all the other interviews, but certainly to this one. I am your co-host, Danielle Sax, and I will see you soon again. Bye-bye. Thanks, Tom.
Bye, Danielle.
Bye.
Let's have a great International Stress Awareness Day.
For sure.
Bye.
Bye.